just listen to yourself. This is very new for me, and I'm going to do my best to try to look through the videos so that I can speak to you individually if I need to, but I won't be able to see all of you perfectly. So if something doesn't feel right, listen to yourself, adjust the pose as needed, or just come out of the pose. That's completely fine. Okay, so I think we should just get started.
Silence your phones if you haven't already. Give yourself a full hour of peace.
Well, for themselves.
For themselves.
Okay. Okay, so for the first pose, I'll have you all go ahead and find one of your blankets. Are they able to hear me? Okay, I hope so. All right, so you can see Bridget, she's just taking one of her blankets and having it right in front of her. And she's going to start at one end and roll the blanket all the way up. We'll start horizontal. Once you have your blanket roll, you'll put it at the top of your mat horizontally across the mat. And I'll just have you watch Bridget once you get it set on your mat so you can place it and then look up at your screen. So if you look over at Bridget, she's going to lie back over the blanket, but letting her shoulders stay first on the blanket roll. So you can see her shoulders are way up towards the ceiling. She's then going to press into her feet, lift her hips, and slide backwards off of the blanket towards the mat. Letting her arms come out to her sides, and then she'll stretch one leg out and then the other. So her arms are out straight and they're just over that blanket roll. If you'd like, you can grab opposite elbows and just let your arms rest above your head. But if that's too much on your shoulders, then you can keep them out straight. So this blanket roll should be just about at your bra strap, if you know where that space is, right at the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. And this is so the bottom tips of the shoulder blades move into the body, helping you to lift your sternum up towards the ceiling and freeing your breath. If you're feeling pain in your low back right now, you can go ahead and bend your knees, lift your hips up to the ceiling, move the buttocks flesh towards your heels, lengthening your low back, set your hips back down and straighten your legs again. And you can do that anytime you start to feel tension in the low back. And if it's not going away, you can always just keep your legs bent and your knees folded in towards one another. So now just let yourself be still. We're all spending a lot of time in different shapes than what we're used to probably. I know I'm spending a lot more time on the computer, kind of hunched forward, or more time on the couch. So now with the blanket roll underneath your sternum, you can really start to reverse that hunching forward, lifting the chest, and seeing how that affects your breath. So relax the whole body. You don't have to change your breathing at all, but just start to notice your breath. Watch your breath as it travels in through the nostrils, into your torso, and then back out. And as you watch, see how that softens your whole being. Let it soften your face. See and feel into your jaw and soften all of the muscles there. Relax your tongue. Relax your belly. This is restorative yoga, so we're going to do just a few poses and spend quite a bit of time in each one. And your only job is to let yourself go. We use props so that the body feels safe enough to do that letting go. So really let yourself be heavy into your blanket. When the body senses any fear or danger, it grips and holds on. And you might have been feeling some danger or some fear lately, and that can affect the body. We can unconsciously hold ourselves. So see if for the next hour you can just practice letting go. Okay, we're going to move to the next pose. So go ahead and bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and then roll onto your right side. And press yourself up slowly with your head coming last. I'll just have you sit for a moment and look up at your screen. I'm going to come back. So I'm going to walk you through just a slightly different setup. We're going to relax lying down for a minute or so, just like you just did. And then we're going to do some guided pranayama. So that's just simple guided breath control. And I'll just have you watch as I trace my fingers. Your inhales are going to start way down here at your low belly. And then as you inhale, instead of just inhaling straight up the body, lifting the chest up, I want you to see if you can imagine the air moving out. So as you inhale, the air travels from your low belly out to the sides of your torso, the sides of your rib cage. Over here, which is called the armpit chest, this lifts up to the ceiling. And then the inhale travels all the way to the top of your sternum right here. So it almost makes this shape like a heart. It's pointed at the bottom, it travels out and up, and then ends again together at the top of the sternum. So I just say that so you can keep that in mind as I'm guiding you through the breath. To get set up, you'll use the same blanket roll that you had before. Before it was horizontal, now it will be vertical on your mat. And then grab one more blanket. This blanket will be folded just in a simple square. It can be as thick as you like, and you can test for yourself after you try out the pose. That blanket is going to go at the top of your vertical roll as a pillow for your head. So if you glance up at Bridget, she's not sitting on the blanket roll, but she's right up against it. And then she'll lie back so the vertical blanket roll lines up with her spine. And then she'll rest her head on her pillow. And she's just moving it now so that it just grazes the tops of her shoulders and holds her neck. She'll let her arms come down by her sides. She's tucking her tailbone to lengthen the low back and then sliding out her heels and letting her legs rest on the floor. And then let yourself go once more. So we did the first pose to start to open the chest, to prepare for pranayama. So this setup should feel a little more gentle on your back. So you can allow yourself to let go fully. Become as soft and as still as you can. Again, looking for places in the body where you might hold on to some tension, releasing every muscle in your face and jaw, letting the tongue be soft. Relaxing the shoulders, feeling this gentle traction on your neck, softening the belly. and the feet. Really resisting the temptation to move at all, even just to wiggle your fingers. It takes some time to settle the body. To really let go. Turn your awareness back to your breath and don't change it yet. Just watch. My teacher always says that it's much harder to watch the breath without controlling it than it is to control the breath. That we humans really like to be in control. So when we start to pay attention, we want to assert ourselves. But we are all practicing being out of control and being okay in that space. So practice here. Watch your breath, but don't insert yourself. Be the passive observer. I'm going to start to guide you through some pranayama, but we'll take it very slow. We're just going to do one breath at a time with recovery breaths in between. And if at any point you start to feel agitated or anxious, just let the breath go. You can ignore all of my instructions and just find your way back to this peaceful, passive observer state. So at the bottom of your next exhale, please pause. Release all of your air. And then begin your slow inhale, starting at the very base of the belly, wrapping around the sides of your torso, past your armpit chest, finishing the inhale at the very top of your sternum. And then very slowly release your air. At the bottom of your exhale, you can return to normal breathing. This is called recovery breaths. You might feel a little bit like you're gasping for air. And if you do feel that way, see if you can not try quite as hard. On your next inhale, we'll take it a little bit slower, a little less deep, so you can stay in this really quiet place. Just taking normal breaths now. At the bottom of your next exhale, please pause. Exhale all of your air. And then start the inhale again. Deep in the belly, wrapping around the sides of the torso, really filling your lungs up to the top of the sternum. At the top of your inhale, maybe pausing for just a moment, and then exhaling with some amount of control so that it's slower than your typical exhale. But you don't have to stretch it out to be as long as you can. And then again, take recovery breaths, return to normal breathing. Again, at the end of your next exhale, please pause. Exhale all of your air and take the inhale again. Long, slow, controlled. Filling your lungs with air. Checking in with your body to remain soft for the whole breath, especially at the top, relaxing the body before you exhale. And then again, return to normal breathing. We'll do one more breath. At the end of your next exhale, please let go of all of your air. And take your last long, slow, deep inhale, picturing that heart as you wrap the breath around the sides of the torso, filling your lungs. Pausing and relaxing the body at the top of the inhale, and then slowly releasing all of the air again, and returning to a normal breath. And now you can completely let the breath go. There is no anticipation of the next one. Let yourself be soft and heavy. Okay, go ahead and bend up your knees slowly. Roll onto your right side again. And you can just rest here for a moment. You can push your blanket out of the way if it's bothering you, and just rest your head on your arm and let your belly be soft. Let your belly just hang towards the floor. And then letting your head come last, go ahead and press yourself all the way up. You can move your blankets off to the side. You won't need anything for the next pose. And then just have a seat as you watch Bridget demonstrate. So she's going to put up her beautiful hair and then find her way to child's pose. So her big toes are together, her knees are just wide enough for her torso. She's going to reach her arms forward and rest the hairline of her head on the mat. So the back of her neck is nice and long. Then I'm going to have her tent into her fingertips, press her fingers down, and then walk them as forward as she can, just lengthening her torso the tiniest amount more. And then go ahead and rest your hands back down on the mat. So I'll just have you watch one moment. On the breath, Bridget's going to inhale, press into her hands, and lift up to downward facing dog. She'll exhale to stay in the pose, and then she'll inhale and come back to child's pose. And exhale to stay. You can watch one more round. She'll inhale, lift up, downward facing dog. And then exhale, come down, child's pose. And that's what we'll do all together. So everybody find your way to child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide. Reach your arms forward. You can tent into your fingertips and walk the hands forward on the mat to reach the sternum towards the top of your mat, that much more. And then go ahead and place your palms back down. Make sure the hairline of your head is pressing into the mat, so lengthen the back of your neck. Good. On your next exhale, go ahead and let go of all of your air. And then as you inhale, press into your hands, lift up, downward facing dog. Good. Exhale in the pose, lift the hips up, reach through your arms. And on your next inhale, come back down, child's pose. As you exhale, settle into the pose. Good. And then you can keep going on your own breath. So as you inhale, transitioning to the next pose, downward facing dog. Exhale to settle into the pose. And then inhale, transition back to child's pose. And I'll just be quiet so that you can do this on your own. And if at any point you want to take a few extra breaths in either of the poses, please feel welcome to do that. This is just to warm up the joints, become a little bit more in tune with your breath, and find some slow movement before we really settle in. Good. Okay, in your next downward facing dog, you can stay in the pose. We'll just stay for a few breaths. So really press into your hands. Feel your hips lift way up to the ceiling. And then just pedal out through your heels. So even if your heels touch the floor, bend one knee and then the other. Bring a little bit of movement to your legs. And then press both heels towards the floor. Even if they come nowhere near, reach them down, press into your hands. And for the last few moments, let your head go as much as you can. As if you were looking towards your belly button, let the neck go. Good, go ahead and bend your knees, walk towards your hands. And just find a resting Uttanasana, forward fold, feet hip-width distance apart, slightly wider if you're feeling a little more tight today in your hamstrings. Grab opposite elbows and let your head and your neck be soft. Let them hang towards the floor. Good, and then go ahead and roll all the way up. Good. Okay, go ahead and grab your chair and one blanket. You're going to place your chair at the top of your mat and then place your blanket on top of the chair seat. So I'll wait for everybody to get there and then I'll have Bridget demonstrate. I know that none of you can respond, but I just have to say I'm looking at my parents and my dogs who are across the country from me in Maine right now, and it is the sweetest thing. It is filling my heart with joy. The internet is a really cool place. Okay.
So much about you, Chandler.
I know, there's Chandler making his appearance.
The family dog.
Okay, so I'll have you look towards Bridget now. She's going to come to Uttanasana, so forward fold. She's standing in front of her chair. Her feet are hip-width distance apart. And then she's going to fold forward and rest her forehead on the chair seat. So she's reaching for that same spot that we did in child's pose, the hairline of the head. And then she's just folding her forearms and letting them rest on the chair seat as well. You can see that she's done a really nice job stacking her hips directly over her heels. It's kind of hard to see for yourself when you're in the pose, but you might be able to feel into that. So everybody go ahead and see if you can find your way here. Feet hip-width distance apart. Again, if you're stiffer, you can make those feet a little bit wider. And then rest your forehead towards your support. If you are someone who is really stiff in the legs and even the chair is not high enough for you, you can build the chair seat up. So I would really love for everybody's legs to be straight here. So if you're having a hard time straightening your legs, you can grab blankets, pillows. You can really grab anything at home to build yourself up a little bit higher. You shouldn't really feel like you're reaching for anything in a restorative class. You want to arrive and be able to settle. So take your time finding that place. As the top half of the body softens into its support, let your legs be strong. Lift your kneecaps. Press all four corners into each foot into the floor. The strength of the legs is what allows the top half of the body to really let go. So keep your legs strong and then relax your belly again. Relax the back of your neck. If your mind starts to wander as you stay in the poses, see if you can practice what we did in the beginning of class before pranayama. Just watch your breath without changing it. And if you feel that you're starting to change your breath, then come back to relaxing the body. Seek out the places of tension and use your awareness to soften them. This really is the practice of yoga. When things are challenging, we are able to find what in us, in our thoughts, in our bodies, in our personalities, wants to grip and have control and assert ourselves. And we can choose to soften there. Use your wandering thoughts as an opportunity to practice. Okay, go ahead and press your hands into the chair seat to straighten your arms and lift your chest. And then bring your hands to your waist. Inhale, stand all the way up. Good. And you can just stand and watch as Bridget just slightly changes for the next pose. She's going to take her chair. I'll just have you turn your chair so you can stay on the mat. Your chair is going to face into the mat on the side. Take it a little bit forward so your feet can be on the mat. So her chair is facing in so that she can make her legs wide and her feet are both on some sticky mat. This is Restorative Padottanasana. So her feet are nice and wide and she's going to take the exact same shape as before with the upper half of her body. So she'll fold forward, find the hairline, the forehead on her support, fold her arms and rest. And I'm just taking a glance at all of these video screens here. It looks like you're all finding how to create the height that you need, and that's really beautiful, so thank you. So the same thing here, even though the top half of the body really rests, see if you can keep your legs strong, lift your kneecaps. It's common for a lot of the weight in the legs to drop onto the outer edge of the feet. So see if you can press into the big toe mound of each foot. Balance the weight in your heel. And then soften the body, the upper half of the body. Let it relax. Let your belly go. My teacher says that restorative yoga is relaxation without dullness. So even when we relax the body, there is still a little bit of effort there. Remaining calm in the face of challenge doesn't mean that you are completely passive and take no action. It means that you take whatever small amounts of action you can take while still staying peaceful. Let your belly go. Lift your kneecaps. Okay, we'll come out the same way. Place your hands onto the chair seat. Press into your arms to straighten them. Bring your hands to your waist. If you need to bring your feet a little bit closer together, do so. And then stand all the way up and bring your feet together. Okay, and you can have a seat on your seat if you'd like. We're just going to watch Bridget again. So you can stand or sit. She's keeping the blanket on the seat, and she's going to have a seat on the chair sideways so that the back of the chair is facing her right side. So just watch her first. Her feet will be hip-width distance apart, glancing down, just making sure that the toes are pointed straight ahead. And then she'll bring her hands to the chair bar. On an inhale, she'll roll the shoulders back and lift the chest. And then on an exhale, she'll gently twist to the right. And you can see that she's twisting from her whole spine, the base of the spine, all the way to the top of her sternum. And it's not the deepest twist that she could take, but it's a gentle, more appropriate version of that for this class. Okay, Bridget, you can relax. Everybody have a seat on your chair with the back facing your right side. Bring your hands to the back bar or the back seat. As you inhale, roll the shoulders back and lift your chest. Extend your whole spine up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, twist gently to the right. Good. Stay here, stay soft. Let your chin be directly in line with your sternum, so you're not looking way out over your right shoulder, but it's soft. One last time as you inhale, roll the shoulders back again, lift the chest, and then as you exhale, gently see if you can twist the tiniest bit more. Let your belly go. Good. Okay, release. You can leave your chair where it is and then just swivel so that now the left side of your body is facing the back bar or the back seat. Bring your hands to the chair seat, the chair back bar. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. And then as you exhale, gently twist to the left. Again, this time, keeping the chin in line with the sternum. And breathing. Again, as you inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift your sternum. As you exhale, twist again to the left, any amount more. Let the belly be soft. Good, and release. Your chair can stay exactly where it is. If you just glance up at Bridget, she's going to grab her second blanket. and place it in front of her chair seat on her mat, just so that she has a little bit of height underneath her buttocks when she sits down. So again, you can kind of decide how much you fold your blanket, how much height you need. If you're on the stiffer side, you'll want some more height. So even if you had a couple of blankets to use here, that would be nice. I'll let you get set up before we go any further. Okay, so Bridget is sitting in simple cross legs. So her legs are crossed in front of her and her feet are right underneath her knees. So as you sit down, you can look at your own feet and knees and adjust. You can even use your hands to kind of pull your feet so that they're directly underneath the knees and the outer edge of your feet is pressing down. And if you come here and it's very uncomfortable or your knees are way up in the air, that's some indication that more height underneath your buttocks would be helpful. So if you have that, you can take it if you have a pillow nearby. But if not, that's okay for today. You'll stay sitting like this, and then you'll fold forward. You can watch Bridget. And one more time, find your forehead on the edge of the chair seat, stacking your arms right above, and then resting. Now, seated like this, I find that it's more comfortable to rest the third eye space, so that space right in between your eyebrows on the seat rather than the hairline. And you can kind of determine that for yourself. Just try to let the throat and the back of the neck be soft. Let your face be soft. And then most importantly, let the belly be soft. Let yourself go. If thoughts come, you can acknowledge them, see them, and then let them go. I think thoughts are a lot like little kids. Some of you may be spending quite a bit of time with little kids right now. If they have something to say to you, they won't stop trying to say it until they feel heard. I nanny a 2-year-old, and if he wants me to pay attention, there's no amount of ignoring that I could do that would work. And I think your thoughts are very similar. So if you have some repetitive thoughts, maybe some anxieties, fears, judgments about yourself or others, if they come to you, then look them right in the eye. Hear them. They want to be heard. And then let them go. And you might find that they let go a bit easier after that. Good. Okay. Go ahead and lift your gaze. We're just going to switch the cross of the legs. So you don't have to move too much. Just change your leg so that the opposite leg is in front. Come right back to simple cross-legged. And then fold forward. And rest again. And this will probably feel like a completely different pose. Whenever we sit down, we tend to sit the same way. So we deepen whatever patterns are in our physical body. And our thoughts are very much the same, and our behaviors as well. We fall into grooves that deepen over time with repetitive actions. And so, this practice of yoga is discovering those patterns and intentionally inviting new ones in, new, healthier ones that serve us and the people that we love more. And let your belly go. Feel your feelings. Okay, slowly lift your gaze. You can just turn to look at Bridget quick, or you can just listen to me. You'll stay exactly as you are, but stretch your legs out wide. Upavishta Konasana, wide-legged angle posture. Your feet will point straight up, your legs will stay active, and then you'll fold forward again, resting your forehead on your seat. If it's really hurting your back to be folded forward in this way, you can just sit up straight, place your hands behind you, and lift your chest. But if it's feeling okay to fold forward, then continue to do so. This pressure on the head is really beneficial when we're feeling overwhelmed or our nervous systems are being taxed, and they are for all of us right now, whether we know it consciously. So take this support. Keep your legs active, lift your kneecaps, your toes pointing straight up, and then let yourself go. Okay, go ahead and lift your gaze. You can bring your legs together and just turn so you can see Bridget. I'm going to give you two options for this last pose. So there will be a little bit of talking and demonstrating before we get into it. The first one, we'll use the chair. This is called Tadaka Mudra. So Bridget's keeping her blanket on the chair and moving her second one to be underneath her head. She's placing her calves on the chair seat so that the edge is coming right underneath her knees. And then she's lying back, lengthening her lower back, letting her hands rest by her sides, palms facing up, and resting her head on that blanket, which is again pulled right up to the tops of her shoulders. If your chair has a back, this might be slightly difficult. So you could take your legs a little bit closer to the edge of the chair so that your feet aren't through the back of it. Or you can come to where she's going right now, which is legs up the wall. So many of you have probably done this before. You'll have a blanket underneath your hips. You'll sit sideways. She's just folding it in half the long way to give her a little bit of extra height. And then she's swiveling her legs up the wall. So that her hips are coming as close to the wall as she can and her legs are straight up. And then she's just rolling her shoulders underneath the body and resting her hands by her sides. So I'll let you come to either of those two places, whichever one feels more appropriate for your props and for your body. And then let yourself rest there. If your legs are resting on your chair, make sure that your knees are slightly behind your hips. So they're not stacked in a straight line, and your knees definitely aren't closer to your head than your hips, but there's a gentle slope. And this helps the hip flexors in the belly really be soft. So let yourself go. As you've been doing in every pose, look for the tension and see if you can release it using your breath. Soften your belly. Soften the space in between your eyebrows. Soften your lips. Let yourself be held by your props. I've been really inspired by Mr. Rogers this past week. I've watched his documentary and also the movie that was made about his life. And what he does in the movie that I've read that he did in real life too often was to invite people to take a minute of silence with him. So I'm going to invite you all to join me in 1 minute of silence. And in this minute, I'll invite you to think of all of the people, and these are Mr. Rogers' words, who have loved you into being. And this can be one person or it might be many. Just let them come to you and feel their loving presence. Feel them love you. And we'll start all together. Thank you very much for joining me in that. Okay, and now I'll invite you to call to mind somebody who could use your love right now. And this could be the same person, it could be someone else. Call that person to mind and see them right in your mind's eye, as if you were talking to them, as if you were less than 6 feet apart. And all of that loving energy that you just felt being poured on you, see if you can radiate that same energy back to this person. Maybe you imagine that you are literally bathing them in light. You can keep this person in your mind's eye as I say the following prayer. This is just a Buddhist metta prayer for compassion. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well and healthy. May you be free from fear and anxiety. May you be happy. Know that when we feel helpless, when there are people in the world who need love and help, and we feel that we are unable to give that this is something we can do. We can send our love and our prayers to them as a community, and it has power. I'm going to just finish class with a quote from a book that I've been reading recently called The Over Story. And it follows many characters, but this character is someone who loves trees and has spent her whole life studying trees, and she discovers how the trees communicate with each other. So I'll read now. The things she catches Doug Firs doing over the course of these years fills her with joy. When the lateral roots of 2 Douglas firs run into each other underground, they fuse. Through those self-grafted knots, the 2 trees join their vascular systems together and become one. Networked together underground by countless thousands of miles of living fungal threads, her trees feed and heal each other. Keep their young and sick alive, pool their resources and metabolites into community chess. It will take years for the picture to emerge. There will be findings, unbelievable truths confirmed by a spreading worldwide web of researchers in Canada, Europe, Asia, all happily swapping data through faster and better channels. Her trees are far more social than even Patricia suspected. There are no individuals. There aren't even separate species. Everything in the forest is the forest. Competition is not separable from endless flavors of cooperation. Trees fight no more than do the leaves on a single tree. It seems most of nature isn't red and tooth and claw after all. For one, those species at the base of the living pyramid have neither teeth nor talons. But if trees share their storehouses, then every drop of red must float on a sea of green. We are all much more connected than we can see. One more time, relax the body, soften the belly. And then let your breath start to deepen just a little bit, just to bring your awareness back to the edges of your being. If your legs are up the wall, you can bend your knees into your chest. If your legs are on your chair, you can do the same. Just be mindful that you don't knock the chair over. And then everybody roll to your right side. You can stay on your side for a moment. Let your belly be very soft. And then letting your head come last, go ahead and press yourself all the way up. And you can turn to face your screen, find a comfortable seat. And we'll end class all together. So if you'd like, go ahead and place the palms of your hands together. The thumbs press into your sternum. And then the chest lifts back into the thumbs. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale, bow your head to your hands. In gratitude for this amazing practice that we can all share together. And in acknowledgement of yourself as your own best teacher. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you all so much. This was really fun. Thank you, Bridget.
So fun.
It was a little weird teaching to a computer screen, but I'm just so happy that we have this chance that we can gather together. And like I said, my parents are here. My best friend is here. They're all the way across the country. I have new friends here, old students, people I've never met before. This is just a really cool chance for us all to be together when we can't actually be together.
Our roots.
Yeah, we are
converged.
So
we
I
are connected.
did just unmute everyone,
Okay.
just so people know
Hello.
we can hear anything you're saying right now. But, yeah, if you guys want to share your thoughts on how that
Yeah,
went.
if you couldn't hear me, especially let me know. If anything was too loud, I'd love to hear how it went for you. And if no one talks, I'm going to start calling on you. So.
It was fabulous. I couldn't
Great.
on the
Well,
chair.
Lisa, did you have any last thoughts that you wanted to get out to the community?
No, I just want to say thanks everybody for joining us. We have more classes Monday, Tuesday of next week.
Yep.
That will be free.
Tuesday night will be Bridget and I
Tuesday's
again.
Bridget.
Yeah, we'll just be switching places, so you'll hear my voice and you'll be watching Devon. So.
And yeah, and then after that, classes are $8 a class, which you can buy online.
Yes.
And just be sure when you sign up online, check your profile in MindBody and be sure that you
Check your
opted
profile.
in to receive communication from us. Because I think that's the reason some people aren't getting confirmation, is because they've not opted in. So just check that on your MindBody account.
And promotions and your social folders.
Right.
You might find those emails hidden in there, just based on how your mail is being organized. So,
Sure.
Yeah, other than that, thank you so much, you guys. This is so touching and amazing. And I'm glad that we can still practice together and have a home practice.
Yeah. Namaste.
So,
Thank you.